Hello. So today I have for you a class that is very specific, but it is for the wrist, for carpal tunnel, and also for IT band soreness, or when you need a stretch in your IT band if you're tight. So either way, if you have these issues or not, I hope you enjoy this class, and you might want to grab 2 blocks as an option if you do have tender wrists. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to begin on our mat, lying down on our backs in Shavasana. So just take a moment, let your arms and legs get comfortable. Take a few breaths. We really want to have a theme of being aware of the body today, being kind to the body, being compassionate to ourselves. So we want to just start to notice where the thoughts go and keep drawing it back to this intention to be very kind to yourself today. Start to fill up from the bottom of the lungs up to the top, exhaling from the top down. And on your inhale, let's take a big stretch with your arms overhead. And exhale, we'll hug the knees into the chest. You can take a little roll around. Inhale for that two-way stretch again. Exhale, hug it in. And one more inhale to stretch it out long, point through the toes. Exhale, hug the knees in. And on the next stretch with your arms overhead, we're going to take it into Bananasana. So go ahead and walk your feet over towards the left side of the mat, and then walk your arms over to the left as well. And if you need it, go ahead and cross the right ankle over the left. And we want to try to relax the shoulders here. So if that right shoulder wants to come up, we're just going to attempt to relax it. It might mean you're not going quite as far. You want to try to feel the mat under the right shoulder blade. You can peek a little bit over to the left as well. And really breathe into that right side body. And on your next inhale, let's just walk the hands and feet through center. We're just going to take it over to the other side, possibly crossing the left ankle over the right. And then just relax that left shoulder blade. And keep the breath nice and even. Don't worry if one side's a little different than the other. And then on your next inhale, we're just going to walk back through center. And exhale, let's bring that right knee in. You can grab around the knee. You might want to grab the foot with your left hand or the knee with your left hand, and we're just going to take it into a twist over to your left. You might reach out with the right arm and gaze to the right. If your neck allows it, we don't need to be extreme. Just warming up, getting some directions of the healthy spine, our 6 directions of the healthy spine. Back, forth, side to side, and twisting in each direction. So inhale, grab your knee back up to center, and we're just going to do a little bit of circles, maybe each direction, getting a little range of motion in that right hip. And extend the right leg back out, and inhale the left knee in. You might grab the foot or the outside of the knee with the right hand, and here we go over to the right. And you might Extend out with the left arm and gaze to the left. We're going to try to keep the left shoulder blade down, and that means you might be cactusing that elbow. Still breathe from the bottom of the lungs up to the top. Envision the air going back down from top to bottom of the lungs. Always make sure you can breathe through your class so that you make sure that you're not going beyond your edge. That's one way to check in with the body, check in with the breath. Inhale, we're going to take that knee back to center and do your little bit of circles. And then I'll just go ahead and windshield wiper the knees a little bit. Knees will point up, feet are on the floor. And then go ahead and try to grab the heels. We're going to lift up into a little bridge pose. So do roll onto the back of the shoulders, onto the shoulder blades maybe as you lift the hips. So we're going to stay engaged through the thighs, like you have that balloon in between the knees. Try to press the feet down, try to press the shins forward. And exhale, lower the hips back down. All right, inhale your right leg up and exhale your right foot to the top of the left thigh for a reclined pigeon. So you might grab either behind the left thigh or the front of the left shin to pull it in a little bit. You do want to activate that right knee, press it towards the front of the mat. Again, we're just getting into the big muscles, so we don't need to be extreme just yet. You just want to feel a nice stretch on probably the back of the right hip. And then exhale, release it down. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale, the ankle to the top of the right thigh. Take a bind if you need to. Yeah, and if your knee feels twingy at all, the left knee, then flex the left foot. And that should provide a little bit of support on the shin for the knee. And exhale, let's release both feet down. And again, you can windshield wiper. Maybe the feet will be a little bit wider apart, maybe about mat distance, and that might help you feel something a little bit on the outer edge of the hips. So you don't need to rush through it, really breathe. You notice any tight areas, again, with that little sense of kindness. Now let's grab behind the thighs and start to rock and roll forward into a seat. And you might like a block underneath the seat. You can sit on your knees, like kneel up if you like, just really whatever's comfortable. And then take the left hand, bring the palm forward, and then grab the fingers and just stretch them back towards your body, your shoulder. Now we get into the wrists a little bit. Take time, really breathe here. And then we're going to do the opposite, so you can grab your fingers or the back of the left hand with the right and just pull them towards, again, towards your body, but fingers are now facing the floor. And then we're going to get into the side of the wrist, so you can bring your fingers towards the midline with your other hand, just gently. We're not cranking it, just want to feel a stretch, maybe getting a little awkward. And try to feel it in the wrist instead of the elbow. I know the elbow is going to want to go with you. And then just reverse direction, so now your thumb will face outward, palm is forward. We're bringing the fingers over towards the left and probably down a little bit. If you want to remove the block, you can get into the thighs a little bit while we're here. We're just going to take the right hand. Fingers will pull back towards your shoulder, right shoulder. Make sure you're still breathing fully. We don't always take the time to really get these kind of stretches in. And exhale, palm faces your torso and the fingers face down. Pull them forward towards your body, I mean. Then palm faces forward, and we're going to take the fingers towards the midline. Relax your jaw if it tensed up. And then we're going the opposite way, fingers towards the outside of the body. Laterally, we can say. And then release the hands. And then go ahead and spread the fingers wide. We're going to go about 20 times, clenching and flexing. And then shake out the wrists. All right, you can take both blocks and we're going to come into a table pose, hands and knees. So the blocks, this is an option. The blocks are going to be underneath the forearms. So draw the lower belly in. We're going to do some cat-cow from here. So on your inhale, we're going to lift the head and tailbone. And on your exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin towards the chest, tuck the tailbone. And we're going to move and breathe like this. So when you inhale, draw the shoulder blades together. When you exhale, feel them come around the outer edge of the spine. Our bandhas are engaged, that's our pelvic floor and the lower belly. And let's curl the toes under, lift up through your right leg. Breathe, exhale your right foot over towards the left behind you. And then you can walk your hands over to the left as well. You could be up on your fists. You could use your hands if that doesn't hurt your wrists, or you could take the block with you. You're going to peek over that left shoulder towards the right foot. Now, this is a little bit maybe getting into the IT band for you, getting a nice stretch all along that right side body. Inhale, walk the hands back to center, kick the right foot behind you, and exhale that right knee down. All right, and again, you can use your forearms on the blocks if you need to. Inhale, left foot out behind you, and exhale it over to the right. And again, maybe you're going to walk your hands over to the right. You're going to peek behind you. Try to keep that lower belly engaged. Inhale, you can bring the arms and foot back to center, and exhale the knee down. So we're going to prepare for our down dog. So you might like your hands, your forearms on the block still. Curl your toes under and press the hips up and back. So you can pedal out your legs here. If you feel like you're falling forward in this version, I sometimes do, step your feet maybe about mat distance apart. They can be wider than hip distance, and that can help us feel a little bit more stable. Really try to press the heart back towards the thighs and relax the neck. We're just going to walk the feet towards the hands. You can move the blocks over to the side. Inhale halfway to lift, lengthen the spine. You might gaze forward if the neck allows it. And exhale, snuggle into your standing forward fold Uttanasana. You might want to grab your opposing elbows. You can sway gently. Maybe you want to bend one or both knees. Trying to get some nice length all the way through the spine. And release your hands if you have a bind. Take another inhale to lift halfway and exhale your right ankle behind the left ankle. So outer edges of the feet might be touching. Go ahead and walk your hands over to the left. So here you want to press the right hip back enough so you can feel a good stretch. If you want to feel a little something more, you can press your front calf into the back right shin. So left calf presses into the right shin. It might help you feel a little bit more in your hamstring, the right hamstring. Take your inhale to bring the hands back to center, unwind, and kick your right leg behind you for a warrior three. So you might like you have a block, you might like it under your hands. You could bring your fingertips to the floor. Make sure that right hip isn't kicking up. I know it wants to. And you might want to bring your hands to the heart center or out to be airplane wings, whatever helps you feel stable here. But do try to keep that left hip nice and stable, not kicking out to the left. All right, release it down. Take an inhale to come up halfway. You might grab your hands behind you for a bind and come back into that forward fold. So we want to work on getting the palms to touch. They may or may not, depending on your wrist and depending on the shoulders as well. So relax your neck, squeeze the shoulder blades. Come back to that sense of compassion so we're not going beyond our edge. Legs may or may not straighten. Now let's take an inhale to come up halfway, release your bind, gaze forward, and exhale. Now we'll take the left ankle behind the right. And hands will also walk over to the right. So all the same things here. Press now the left hip back. Maybe you're going to press the front calf into the back shin. We're noticing the difference, and notice if your mind wants to come to judgment. Release that. We're attempting to release that self-judgment. No need to make things harder. Inhale. Bring your hands back to center, release your right leg and kick it up behind you for our warrior three, Virabhadrasana C, modified with the hands down, or hands can be again on the floor in a prayer, maybe even reaching out in front of you if you like that version. So keep that tiny bend in the right knee. Exhale, release your foot and your hands down back into that forward fold. And now press into the feet, bend the knees. We're going to slowly roll up to standing if your spine allows it. If not, then come up with a flat back. As you inhale, circle your arms up, gaze up, and exhale, palms to heart center. Our compassion, again, come back to your intention. As you inhale, lift your arms, lift your right knee up. And we're coming into a chair balance. So exhale your right ankle to the top of the left thigh, bending into both knees. You can inhale your arms to a T. Exhale your right elbow underneath the left for eagle arms. You don't need to. You can just hug yourself here if that bind doesn't work. And if you like, then cross the right knee over the left and sink it down for your full eagle pose, Garudasana. There's an option to tuck your chin in towards your chest. Inhale, release it up, kick your right knee up. And on your exhale, let's step all the way back into Warrior Two. So line up your front heel and back arch. Arms are in a T. We're trying to get both hip points to the side. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Left arm comes up and back. You might gaze up. You could gaze down if it's better for your neck. And exhale, side angle. Bring the front forearm to the front thigh. And a big inhale to really reach the right arm over the right ear. You may gaze up. I'm going to try to press into the outer edge of your right foot. Once again, getting a nice side body stretch. All the way to the fingertips. Hand is engaged. Fingers are engaged. Reaching out. Exhale, windmill that right hand down, come off your back heel, and then you can walk your left foot over to the left, about a 45-degree angle, drop your back knee down, and just open up that left thigh. Option to bind your, right foot in your left hand. So this might feel a little bit like a heart opening pose. Let your hips sink down. You're rolling onto the outer edge of that left foot. Exhale, release your bind. Turn your toes forward. Plant your hands. Curl your back toes under and step forward back into that Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, this time with a flat back, circle the arms all the way up. And exhale, Samastiti, hands to heart center. All right, we're going to take the other side. So press into that right foot. Inhale, arms up, left knee up. And exhale, left heel to the top of the right thigh. Go ahead and sink it down, sink it in. Inhale, arms come out, and exhale, the left elbow under the right. So you might be binding your hands. You could grab a thumb. Dip it down. Maybe you're going to cross the right ankle over, your left knee over the right. Left knee over the right. Tucking your chin if you like. Inhale, release your knee back up, and exhale, here we go, Virabhadrasana B, Warrior Two. Breathe. Can you try to feel the shoulders right over the hips? Energizing through both arms. Turn your front palm up, and we'll reverse our warrior. Try to keep your right knee over the right ankle. And exhale for our side angle, right forearm to the right thigh. A big inhale to reach the left arm over your left ear. And try to take that left shoulder blade down the back a little bit. Exhale your left hand down, drop your back knee down, and turn your right toes out. Maybe you're going to come to the outer edge of that right foot now. You can just press the hip open, or you might take a bind with the back foot. Notice how you feel in these a little bit of a heart openers. Exhale, gently release your bind. Right toes come forward. And once again, we're going to step forward. And this time a wide-legged forward fold. So go ahead and toe heel your feet out and exhale, drop your head. So now your toes are pointing forward or a little bit inward. We're going to take the back of the hands to the mat. So fingers will face the back of your mat. You can just kind of press a little bit of, getting a little bit of a stretch in the back of the wrists. And then reverse your hands. So your palms are going to come down and fingers might face the back of your mat. And same thing, just press down as needed. And roll out the wrists. Inhale, come up halfway, toe heel your feet under the hips. Inhale, lift. And exhale, we're going to step both feet back to the top of your push-up, your plank pose. And an exhale, shift forward and lower all the way down onto the belly. So point your toes, we're coming into Sphinx. So you can come up onto the forearms. Try to let the heart relax forward. Try to gently draw the shoulders back. Throat is nice and open, and we're lengthening through the back of the neck as well. So now we're going to start to come over onto the left hip, stacking the right leg on top of the left. We're just getting into the side body here. So you might use a block underneath that left forearm. Your right hand is in front of your body just for support, or you can come onto the left hand. Now you could press into the fingertips or be on your left fist. So for this one, your left shoulder will, it will come up a little bit towards the ear, so we don't need to worry about that much. We really just want to let the side body kind of relax down, really getting a nice stretch in that left side body. Exhale, we're going to roll through center, coming back into our Sphinx pose. If we want to encourage loving kindness, of course we need to start with ourselves. And then we're going to roll on to the right side. And same thing here, you could use a block. You do want to do something kind for that right wrist. And left hand is just basically being a little support. So just kind of allowing yourself to slump your right side body towards the earth. We want to just start to notice any negative self-talk that we might have that comes up when we get a little quiet, when we come into the body, so that we can be gentle with ourselves and we can start to replace those thoughts with something a little bit nicer. And then we're going to roll to center once again. And go ahead and relax your head to the hands, and you can just take a little bit of those drunken windshield wipers, bending the knees, letting the feet drop to one side and then the other. You could do like some circles there if you like. And then curl the toes under, press your hands into the floor, and we're going to come all the way back into a down dog. Now, as I mentioned, you could use blocks, or you can really try to spread out the fingers, spread out the thumbs, and really try to press into the fingers, the big knuckle of the fingers. That's just going to try to get a little bit of pressure off the wrists. So here I'm just grabbing the blocks, so you can have the blocks even under your hands instead of the forearms. And that can also just take a little bit of weight off of the torso. So just a couple options. You can experiment with what works for you. And exhale, you can drop down to the knees. We're going to roll back, so you can either cross your ankles or just bring your legs to the side. Coming into a seat, however's comfortable. And we're going to pull like you're going to pull each wrist off of your arm. And then take a prayer, palms together, press the heels of the hands down, and make sure you're not hunching up the shoulders here. You might be able to press the base of the heels of the hands together. They may or may not come to touch depending on your wrists. We're still breathing fully here. And then keeping the palms together, just turn your hands so the fingers are pointing down. And here is where the shoulders want to hunch up sometimes, and we're just going to really keep pressing them down. Release your hands, and we're taking the back of the hands together, fingers point down, trying to get the back of the hands to touch. Breathe, relax the jaw. Keeping the back of the hands glued, just turn your hands so now the fingers point up, wrists point down. Well, you're trying to press them down. Release the wrists, you can roll them out and then shake them out. All right. So we have a couple options here for the legs. We're going to try to take the right knee on top of the left, having the outer edges of both feet on the ground. You can bring a block underneath both sitting bones if you need to, or a blanket. We do want to have both sitting bones touching the ground. We don't want to get awkward in the spine. So sit tall, however that works for you. And then on an exhale, we're going to start to lengthen the spine forward. You can take a block, maybe your forehead's going to touch the block, or you can bring your hands to the block and making a little bit more length. And while you're here, relax the shoulders, relax any tension. Notice if you're holding on somewhere in the hips. A disclaimer here, if the knees are in pain, please come back up, unwind your legs. You can just take a forward fold with your ankles crossed. On an inhale, we're slowly going to rise back up, and you can release the legs. And we're just going to take it into the other side. So our cow face legs, or knee pile pose, as some like to say. Ralphie has come to join us. And same thing, pay attention to the sitting bones, trying to even them out. One side may be a little or a lot different. So again, we're going to lengthen the spine. You can sit up straight. You can start to hinge forward without any expectations or demands. We have enough of those. Noticing any tension that came up and just trying to release that tension. You can always exhale and sigh it out. And inhale, start to rise back up. Again, releasing the legs. And go ahead and lean back. You might drop the head back. And we're just going to windshield wiper the knees here. Again, you don't need to be in a rush. Really feel that outside edge of the hips, that IT band area. And then we're going to roll back onto our backs. Leave your knees bent. Let's hug them in. Take a little happy baby if you like, grabbing the big toes with the peace fingers, or you can grab the outside edge of the feet with the hands. Do try to keep the tailbone rooting towards the earth as you play around here, maybe stretching, lengthening, or just pull the knees towards the earth. And then we're going to take the legs straight up. If you have a plow pose in your practice, we're going to take the feet behind the head. So be very careful here. This can be pretty deep for the spine. Take your hands to the lower back and really try to roll the shoulders under. So we're not really having pressure on the back of the neck. Your feet may or may not touch the ground. You can even play with having your block behind you, and your feet could come to the block. If it is available, you could start to maybe sneak your toes over to the right. Keep your gaze straight up for neck protection. And then you might walk your feet through center, and you can walk them over to the left, maybe. If this is not right, you're just going to keep the legs straight up. Again, just FYI. We're always doing what is safe. You can challenge yourself, but you always want to make sure you're not going beyond your edge. Coming back to center with the feet. Drop the hands down and very, very slowly roll the spine back towards the earth. You can engage through the abs as you slowly bring the feet back towards the floor. And maybe they are going to touch down now. So take the hands, bring them palm down underneath your sacrum, the lower back, and lift your head and chest and come to the top of the head for our fish pose, Uttanappadasana. You may add the legs, lifting them. You may lift the arms towards the front of the room as well, 45-degree angle. That may or may not be appropriate, so definitely be careful of the neck. And exhale, flatten back out to the mat. All right, you might like your blocks at either side of your hips. We're going to come back into that reclined pigeon. So take your right ankle to the top of the left thigh once again. And you can, again, take a bind and notice if this version is different than the first one we took. Pressing that right knee forward. And if that hip has started to open, you might even grab behind your right calf, gently pulling your shin towards your chest. This is where some of you might like to try to take your foot behind your head. Who knows? You can take your time here. We're in a video. Push pause. Then bring your foot back to the thigh. Grab your right ankle with the left hand, and we're taking it into a twist towards the left. So I know you really can't see it here, but you could bring your right foot to a block, or it might come down to the earth. You can gaze to the right. You do want to press the right knee towards the front of the room if your knee allows it. And this should feel like a big stretch on the outside of that right hip, that right IT band. As you inhale, keep the right ankle where it is, bring it back up to center, and on your exhale, we're going to turn it into a twist towards the right. So your right ankle is now going to be to the outside of the left knee, the left thigh, just for a little weight, if that is okay, again for both knees. So it might give you now that stretch on the lower left side waist. You can gaze over to the right. Trying to settle both shoulder blades to the earth. Inhale, knees and gaze back to center. Unwind, and then we'll take that left ankle to the top of the right thigh. Again, maybe taking a bind, maybe playing with grabbing behind the left shin, left calf, drawing it towards the chest, kissing your toe, bringing your foot behind the head, who knows? You don't need to be afraid of finding your full expression of the pose, whatever that is for you today. It could change from day to day, week to week. Now we're going to just set the foot back on the thigh, and here we go, both knees coming over towards the right. Left knee, again, pressing forward. So we are kind of energized through that left leg. Gazing towards the left, possibly. Our symbol of twisting out that which we do not need. Twisting out the harshness of our thoughts that we get sometimes. Inhale, legs back to center, and exhale them over to the other side. You might be gazing to the right. So now you're just using the weight of that left foot on the outer right thigh to draw the right knee towards the earth. So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you do have a block under your left knee. If that feels good, if that feels more appropriate. You get to determine your edge, what is appropriate for you in your yoga class. All right, inhale, let's take the legs back up to center. Maybe you'd like to windshield wiper the legs or hug them in, whatever you need. And before we come into Shavasana, let's take a reclined Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana, bound angle. Bringing the soles of the feet together. Knees can just relax out. If they're not relaxed, then bring the feet a little bit more forward towards the front of the mat. You can bring your hands to the belly or heart. Relaxing the facial muscles. Feeling the weight of your body sinking into the earth, melting into the earth. You can stay right here if you like, or bring your knees back to center. Roll out your wrists, roll out the ankles. We're just getting ready for our resting pose, Shavasana. If you have a blanket, you might like to grab it. All right, and then really try to relax here, everything you can, feeling like your bones are just going to soften into the earth, the muscles relax over the bones, skin relax over the muscles. And we'll take the next about 5 minutes to take rest. So I really encourage you not to skip this part. We really want to allow our bodies to absorb what we have done. Just let your thoughts come and go. They're perfectly fine. And take rest. And let's start to breathe a little energy back into the body. Come back, strengthening your bones, your muscles. And start to make a little bit of circles with your ankles and your wrists. As you take a big inhale, stretch from your arms all the way to the toes. And exhale, hug your knees in towards your chest. We're just going to roll onto your favorite side. Taking a moment, making a little pillow with your hands. thank yourself for making it to your yoga practice, for taking this time of mindfulness, of compassion for yourself. Pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat, whatever that is for your legs. And let's bring the hands to the heart center, bowing your chin towards the chest. Really acknowledge those beautiful efforts that you've done. Acknowledge your validity, your divine nature. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. The divine joy and light in me honors, reflects, and bows to the very same divine joy and light that dwells in you. Namaste.